Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode here on Dangerous African Confessions HD. In this episode, we have the continuation of the message from our brother, who was revealing to us how he got initiated into a cult in his message. He said his initiation was for him to become one of the powerful prophets in Ghana. He reveals some deep stuffs about some of the prophets that are now parading as people chosen by God, which really came as a shock to us. But then, for this period of time that we have been doing this, there is nothing that surprises us anymore. He tells us the beginning of his life and what led him to join this group of pastors and at the end being initiated into the cult. He reveals to us the dirty things some of the pastors in the ministry have been doing, and people go about celebrating them as being genuine men of God. He said that, he revealing this dark side of the church to us, is not to bring the Christian faith into ridicule, but rather, to let people know what is there, so that they will know Christ for themselves, and not to depend on any pastor. Without taking much of your time, let us go and listen to her story. Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload.
After everything, I was told that I was not to give birth. What I mean by that is that I shouldn't have a child of my own, because whatever spirit that I had swore the allegiance to had married me, and she will only want to have children with me in the spirit realm. So, having a child in the physical realm is like an insult to my spiritual wife, who also doubles as the source of my powers. At this point, I didn't think about the consequences of what they were telling me. All I ever thought of was me doing what I wanted to do and make a name for myself. So, what this pastor did for me was that, after my initiation, he told his wife about what God has shown him about me, and the need for them to allow me to also mount their pulpit. His wife was very happy to hear such a thing about me. She was a very innocent woman, a very down-to-earth person. So, the next service, he made the announcement to the general audience that, if he does not preach or mount the pulpit, I will be the one to do so, due to the instructions he has received from the Lord. Everyone was happy, and honestly, I didn't feel any tense in the congregation. So the very first day that he gave me the chance to minister to the church, I never knew and believed I could do such things. It was like something had taken over my body and was just giving out prophecies like that to the people. I was giving them concrete and straight to the point prophecies, just like the pastor himself has been doing. The whole congregation was very happy about what I was able to do. And to them, the Holy Spirit has been able to use the head pastor to train me to also walk in the same good path. People started believing in what I could do when given the opportunity to do something. So, the head pastor, what he did was that, he now planned a service where we always had it on Wednesdays. And in that service, I was always the one that ministers. Aside the fact that, in every month, one Sunday is given to me to minister. All this while, I and my head pastor were still sleeping together just as a man and woman would do. Sometimes, we even would do it before he will mount his pulpit to minister to the people. This went on for some time, and it started that there were rumors about me and the senior pastor. It was like people started suspecting us of doing the abominable thing. So, when we heard what was happening, he told me to look for a woman to be someone that I would present to the whole congregation as someone that I was studying, so I can marry in future. This way, it will help change the perception or the narrative about us. I still had what was given to me as the rules to follow in my mind. But then, when I questioned him about the rules I was given, he told me that I was only showing the lady as my wife to be, and not to sleep with her. So, when I asked him about what will happen when it gets to a time that the lady in question will also pressure me to marry her, my pastor told me that, when that time comes, we will find a way for her to commit a mistake, so I can let her go. During this time, it sounded good to my ears. So, there was this particular lady in the church that I approached, and told her about my intentions. So, the girl became someone that in the eyes of the church, I was studying. The rumors because of this move, died just like that, and we changed where we were meeting for our acts. One thing is that, I kept on wondering why my senior pastor had a woman and a child, whereas I was commanded not to have a child. So, in one of our usual meetings in a hotel, I asked him about the very thing that was bothering me, of which he told me that he would tell me more as time goes on. This he told me, I realized that there is more to what I was thinking. At the end of every 3 months, we will go to this remote place, where there is a huge megastructure. That is where we used to have our meetings. And when after we are done with our meetings, the things that you would think is evil and not for a Asta to go near, that is what we go through. The men will go on with having knowledge of each other. What I mean is that we will be sleeping with ourselves, so as the women amongst us will also engage in lesbianism. Sometimes, some of the pastors will also be sleeping with the women as well as sleeping with men. Every 3 months, that is exactly what you will see us go through in our temple. What I never knew was that, when the women amongst us do get pregnant, it was their pregnancy that they were using for their sacrifice for all the powers they were exhibiting in their various places. My pastor told me that he wanted to put me in charge of a new branch that he was putting up. This was the move I was looking for. He said that he didn't want things to be a competition between us. And so, he wanted me to start a new one and then grow that branch and use as my own. He got the land and we started building the structure on it. That period was when everything started to go in a way that I never imagined would go. The lady I had taken as my future wife was someone who was extremely beautiful. And knowing very well of my vows and commandments, I did my best not sleep with her. But then, I couldn't control myself for so long. It was only a matter of time that I would fall for her beauty. It was like she was also waiting for me to initiate that. The day I made that approach, she didn't turn me down. She went on with the flow, and the rest was history. In fact, she showed me things that I had never experienced before in my life. I thought that, because she was a church girl, there are things that she didn't know. It turned out that I was wrong. So, in no time, after about several meetings with her and sleeping with her, she told me that she was pregnant. One thing that I will say is that, when the devil wants to deal with you, after you have gone to him for powers or help, he makes you forget your vows and commands. During the period that I was happily enjoying myself with the lady, I totally did forgot about any vows nor commandments. So, when she told me that she was pregnant, it dawned on me that I had gotten myself into such a deep mess. What was I going to do? How do I tell my people about my situation? I told her to go and abort the pregnancy. Because rituals wasn't a good idea for me to get her pregnant whilst we were not married. I had to do these things all by myself, because I hid everything from my pastor. I told her to go ahead with the pregnancy, and after everything, I would go and see her parents for the marriage process. This she agreed to do. Because, judging from my work with her, I realized she loved me and was ready to do anything for me. So I capitalized on that to get her to abort the pregnancy. But then, I never imagined that she would decide not to abort the pregnancy. She had told me earlier that she had gone for the abortion, and so she decided to stay away from me for some time, so she can heal properly. Little did I know that she wanted to keep the pregnancy. Here was I who had also sworn never to get anyone pregnant or let anyone give birth for me. So, after some months, and I had not seen her, I went to her place to go and check. But then, I was told that she had gone to her mother's place in the village. For whatever reason she had gone there, I wasn't aware. I tried reaching her on the phone to at least know how she was doing. But I couldn't reach her. I told myself that she will come, knowing how much she loves me. I just decided to let things lie down. It was after the next set of months that we went to the meetings that I got to know that she had not gotten rid of the pregnancy. I was told by the elders of the cult that my spiritual wife is seriously angry with me, and if I don't do things to please her, I might meet her wrath. And knowing what it means to meet her wrath, I indeed needed to do something. So, I pleaded with the elders to consult and ask her of what I should do to please her, without me being killed. After the consultation, she told me that I will have to sacrifice my manhood as a sign of total commitment to her. Either than that, I have broken her commandments, and needed to face the necessary punishment. This was very difficult for me to accept. But knowing what was at stake for me, I had no choice. My only worry was the fact that I had to live my life knowing very well that I had sacrificed my happiness as a man for the source of my powers. But, for the fear of me dying, I had no other choice than to go ahead with it. And so, I was made to drink some mixtures and gone through some spiritual stages, which got my manhood not working as it should as a man. After this service was done at the temple on me, and I later in about 2 years, I heard from the lady that I had impregnated, and realized she had given birth to my child, I made a very scary and dangerous but important decision of my life. That was to denounce my commitment and everything I had with them. And the journey and attacks on my life has been tremendous. But the reason I am even sharing this message with the world is that, through this all, I have realized the love of my Maker. Even when I did things I was not supposed to even get myself involved, the love was abundant for me. Now I am still trying to organize my life in a way that I can go out and prolate His love above other things on this earth. Please, I would like you to use my story as an assurance of His enormous amount of love. You only need to make the step and denounce everything that is holding you. I pray that we all do find our Maker some way somehow, before we depart from this earth. I thank God that He made it possible for me.
Like I always say, these are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. After listening to this story, I will say that life indeed is something that no one can predict. And you can't even seem to understand what life is all about. I honestly wish the youth of these days will listen to some of the important lessons in these stories that we share. Money is important in human life, yes, it is true that we cannot do without it. But please, we should understand that money is not everything. I honestly think that this generation are really becoming a generation that if we do not sit up and really get to understand the living spirit of Christ, we will be heading for a doom. You see, the devil has many of his people pretending to be the very select of God, all in an attempt to deceive many unto himself. Let us be wise and vigilant in our walk in the faith. I just hope that we honestly take the important lessons from these stories to better our lives and decisions. When you listen to his story carefully, you realize that he had a very solid foundation from his parents, which should have been his guidebook in his walk with the Lord. The virtues that we are taught in the house by our parents in the Lord is so much important that we shouldn't disregard them entirely and walk a different path. I pray that we learn from some of these stories and live a better life. If not for anything at all, it pays to live a decent and better life. Stay blessed and be safe. Thanks for being a part of this growing family. Kindly share your thought with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share.